He looked me dead in the eye this morning. My father, suitcase by the door, irritation rising in his voice, and asked why I wouldn't just hand him the car keys. The battery on the other vehicle had died overnight, and he needed to go into town. I told him no. He huffed, shook his head like I just insulted him, and walked out. No thanks, no understanding, just disappointment. That's when it hit me. I'm not comfortable in my own home. Not when he's here, not when they're here. And I don't think I've ever been. So I told him, just like I told my mother before him, that this would be the last time. They won't be staying with us anymore. But now I'm sitting here, wondering if I've made a terrible mistake, wondering if I've become the villain in my own family's story. Let me take you back. I was born and raised in the UK. Grew up in a house that always felt tense. My parents were always on edge, and by default, so was I. They never really got along. And even though they're technically still together, it's in name only. Emotionally, they've been miles apart for decades. I moved 5,000 miles away to the US when I married my spouse. We settled down, built a life in a quiet rural area, had children, created the kind of home I never had growing up. Spacious, stable, quiet. My husband's a builder, so while the house isn't fancy, it's large. We've got room. But what we don't have is peace when they come. And they always come. Each of them separately, every year. For a month. That's 2 full months of my year gone. 2 months of living like a guest in my own home. 2 months of being the child again. Tiptoeing, accommodating, absorbing tension I thought I'd left behind across an ocean. And it's not just their presence. It's the expectations. My father shows up, already assuming he'll borrow one of our cars, without asking. And if that car doesn't work, if the battery dies like it did this week, it's my fault. Never mind that we live in a remote area. Never mind that he could rent a car if he wanted to. He doesn't want to. He wants me to make it easy. My mother's worse. Not in the way that she yells or fights. No, she weaponizes guilt like it's fine art. If I suggest that staying in an Airbnb might be better for all of us, she stares at me like I've just abandoned her on the side of the road. So, you're barring me from seeing my grandchildren now? She says. It's always that line, that same emotional dagger. You moved, so it's on you to accommodate us. We have no money for hotels, no other options. But the truth is, it's not about space. It's not about logistics. It's about how I feel when they're here. I don't feel safe. I don't feel free. I don't feel like the adult I've worked so hard to become. I revert. I shrink. Every meal becomes a performance. My dad is diabetic, but also picky. Not just medically selective, but personally demanding. No beef. Only certain vegetables. Specific brands. So I cook with one eye on the stove and the other on his reaction. If the food isn't just right, the silence speaks louder than any words. And when it's my mother's turn to visit, the energy changes, but not in a better way. She hovers. She criticizes. She rearranges my kitchen like she's lived here her whole life. She says she's helping. But help shouldn't feel like control dressed in politeness. She even brings my 29-year-old sister sometimes, who honestly is the only one I wish would stay. She's kind. She gets it. She helps without making me feel like I owe her my soul in return. But even she can't offset the pressure of hosting someone who makes me clean the bathroom 3 times after they leave, just to feel like I've scrubbed the past off the tiles. I've tried explaining. I've tried gentle suggestions, but every time I bring it up, I'm met with the same refrains. It's only a few months a year. We came all this way. We're here to help. But this doesn't feel like help. It feels like a hostage negotiation. I don't want to be managed anymore. I don't want to carry the weight of their unresolved marriage, their unprocessed disappointments, their subtle accusations wrapped in domestic rituals. I'm a parent now. I've got enough to carry. I'm raising children. Children who deserve a mother who isn't walking on emotional eggshells for 60 days straight. Children who shouldn't witness me folding into discomfort just because it's what I was taught to do. So last night, after my dad complained about the car again, after he sat on the porch with that quiet judgment I know too well, I finally told him, calmly, firmly, "This will be the last time you stay here." He didn't yell. He didn't argue. He just looked at me with a wounded stare. That's the thing. There's rarely a fight, just a deep, simmering disappointment that makes me question everything I just said. And now, I'm torn. Because yes, they traveled far. Yes, they want to see the grandkids. Yes, they say it's just once a year. And I know money is tight for them. There aren't any hotels nearby. Airbnb options are limited. Maybe they really can't afford other options. But is that my burden? Does loving my children make me obligated to let them back into my life like nothing ever happened? Like I didn't spend 2 decades trying to unlearn the anxiety they baked into my nervous system. I rarely go back to the UK. When I do, I don't stay with them. I get a hotel. Because I know what boundaries mean. I know how much easier it is to love someone from across a hallway than from across a kitchen where every move is monitored. And yet, I still hear it. That voice in my head. You're the one who left. This is your fault. This is the price you pay for building your own life. Maybe they're right. Maybe I'm selfish. Maybe I'm denying my kids something. Grandparents who, in their own broken way, do care. But I'm also giving them something I never had. A calm home. A mother who doesn't flinch when someone raises their voice. A kitchen that doesn't double as a battlefield. That's why I made this decision. And yet, it doesn't feel like victory. It feels like guilt. Like grief. Like standing up for yourself and immediately wondering if you've just become your mother. Because when my own mom treated her mom poorly near the end of her life, it broke me. I saw the resentment, the impatience, the harsh words, and I promised myself I'd never become that person. But is this what that looks like from the outside? Am I becoming the very thing I hated? My grandmother was the only one who ever made me feel truly loved. And when I watched my mother steamroll her, I saw the cycle, the coldness, the transactional love. I want to break that cycle, not repeat it. So here I am, sitting in a massive house filled with silence, wondering if I just turned my back on the only family I have left, wondering if my children will one day do the same to me. So, am I the asshole? Sometimes, the hardest thing to do is protect your peace from the people who raised you. We're taught from childhood that family is sacred, that parents deserve respect, that we owe our lives to those who gave us life. And yet, what happens when those people make us feel unsafe, unheard, unworthy? This story is not just about house guests. It's about emotional inheritance, about what we carry and what we refuse to carry any longer. The OP here isn't cold. She's not cruel. She's not ungrateful. She's tired. She's aware. She's trying to unlearn decades of damage while raising her own children with love and stability. and that takes courage. The world will always tell you that it's only for a few weeks, or they're your parents, or you have the space. But emotional space matters more than square footage. You can have a castle and still feel trapped. You can have boundaries and still love someone. You can say no and still say, I care. So to anyone listening who's ever felt like a child again the moment their parents walked through the door, this story is your permission slip. It's okay to protect your home. It's okay to choose peace. And it's okay to let love look different than sacrifice. But now, we want to hear from you. Was she right to say no? Or did she go too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that challenge what family really means. This is AITA Stories, and we'll see you next time.